While performing rigorous exercises, we sweat a lot. So when we sweat a lot, our throat feels dry, and so we feel the need to drink water. Similarly, in plants, water is lost from the surface by transpiration. So the trees become dry, and so to replenish the amount of water lost during transpiration, roots absorb water from the soil. Now, how does the root absorb the water from the soil? We'll see very shortly. But before that, let us perform a simple experiment. Put some dry, wrinkled raisins in water. Within a few hours, you'll see that the dry, wrinkled raisins have swollen up. Now, how did that happen? Well, see, the dry, wrinkled raisins have a very high sugar concentration. So, sugar concentration is very high, but the water concentration is very low. But in the glass, the water concentration is very high. So, water travels from a high concentration area to a low concentration area across a semi-permeable cell membrane. And thus, these raisins, they take up water and they become swollen, and these raisins now have an increased water content. So this process by which water travels from a high concentration area to a low concentration area across a semi-permeable membrane is known as osmosis. Now, what do I mean by a semi-permeable membrane? Well, semi-permeable membrane means a selectively permeable membrane. That is the membrane that allows only selective molecules to pass through it, like our cell membranes or the cell membranes in plant cells is a selectively permeable or a semi-permeable membrane. So during transpiration, water is lost from the plant cells. So the cell water concentration decreases, but the soil water concentration is more than the water concentration present in the cells. So we've studied that water will travel from a high concentration area to a low concentration area. And this process is known as osmosis. So through osmosis, water travels from the soil to the roots. Now, roots will try to take up maximum amount of water from the soil. For that, it increases its volume with the help of root hair. See these fibrous structures that you can see coming off a root is known as the root hair. Now, the presence of the root hair facilitates the increase in the surface area. Now, more the surface area, more will be the osmosis of water. Now, notice another thing. The cell walls of these root hair is very thin to increase the rate of osmosis. Now, why does only water molecules enter through the root hair? Why does the soil molecules do not enter? Well, just like a strainer strains only the tea and prevents the tea leaves from flowing, similarly, the semi-permeable membrane have very small pores in them, and these small pores can only accommodate water molecules. soil molecules are too large to be accommodated by these small pores of the semi-permeable membrane. And so only water molecules can pass through. So roots have thinner cell walls and also root hair, and these are the two adaptations that root have to absorb maximum amount of water from the soil. Now, for a healthy body, along with water, we require minerals, which is a very essential nutrient. Now, where do we get the minerals from? Yes, vegetables have high mineral content. Now, vegetables are a part of a plant. So, now can you tell me, what is the source of minerals for the plants? Well, soil has a lot of mineral content. See, these yellow molecules that you can see are the mineral content. So, while absorbing water from the soil, the roots also absorb these minerals from the soil. So, soil is the source of minerals for the plants, and then in turn we take in the plants and we get our mineral. Now we've seen that roots absorb water through osmosis because the water concentration in the root cells are lesser than the water present in the soil. So water passes from the soil to the root through osmosis. Now, why is less water present? Because of the increased concentration of minerals present in the root cells. So root cells have less water but a lot of minerals. So the mineral concentration is high. Now, if the mineral concentration is already high in the root cells, then how will it take up minerals from the soil, which has a lesser concentration of minerals with respect to the root cells? Well, for that, root cells utilize energy in the form of ATP, and against the concentration gradient, they take up the mineral molecules. That is, the mineral molecules travel from a lesser concentration area to a greater concentration area in the root cells. And this process is known as active transport. Now, from here it is very clear that the direction of active transport is just the opposite or reverse to that of diffusion. Because in diffusion we saw that molecules always travel from high concentration area to a low concentration area. But in case of active transport, it is just the reverse. It travels from a low concentration area to a high concentration area. Now, certain molecules travel in the same direction as diffusion. So that is from a high concentration area to a low concentration area. So for this passage, no energy is required, and this process is known as passive transport. So passive transport takes place in the same direction as diffusion. So now you can tell me why florists sprinkle water on flowers very frequently. Because flowers transpire as well. So when flowers transpire, the cells present in the flower will have less water concentration. So these flowers, after transpiration, will have less water. So when the florist sprinkles water, then the water will travel from a high concentration area to a low concentration area. And that is how the cells become turgid with water and the flower looks fresh and crisp.